Hello to everyone. I'm Ana Salazar. I am an international student recruiter here at Tilburg University. I'm also a former student of Tilburg University. I finished my bachelor's last year, and hopefully I will start my master's soon, but we'll see. To everyone, I'm also from Mexico, so I also understand the complications and the culture shock that comes with going to a completely different country, different culture, everything. So let's start. We've already heard so much about the Netherlands, about why it's great to come study here. So I'm going to just talk about Tilburg University and basically the city, and the students, the programs. So as you can see here in this slide, you can see where Tilburg is located. It's in an area called Brainport, and the reason that this is quite important, quite cool, is because Brainport is known as the Silicon Valley of the Netherlands and really of Europe. And why is that? It's because in this area we have companies, tech companies such as Philips, Signify, Tesla as well, and it's really a point where the universities such as Eindhoven University and Tilburg University share a lot of knowledge, even so much as having a degree that we share with them, such as a data science degree. But also something really cool about Tilburg is that it's kind of in the middle of everything. So it's not really that far away from major cities such as Amsterdam and Rotterdam, even The Hague. It's quite close to them by train and also by other European cities. So if you're a person who really likes to travel, it's really nice because you can go to so many other cities in Europe, really close by, really close to Belgium, to Paris. So if that's something that interests you, then it's nice to know. Tilburg in general has around 28,000 students, but also to think about it is that Tilburg has the city itself, other universities. So many students live there from Fontys University, Avans, and they also have international students. So you won't just meet people from Tilburg University, but you'll also get to meet people from other universities. We all share a sports center's facilities. So maybe you'll end up going to a class, a dance class, and you'll meet people from so many other programs that you didn't even know existed, such as Fontys, who has circus, for example. And I think that's such a nice experience as a student to know so many others. But we can talk so much more about Tilburg University. Of course, at our core, we started as a business school, and that you can really see that in how well ranked some of our programs are, such as economics for bachelors. But one of the nicest things about Tilburg is that, as you can see from my background and as you can see from this slide, it is a modern green campus. And what do I mean by green? First of all, it is located next to a forest, which you can see from behind my background. This is the beginning of the forest, actually. So a lot of students really enjoy that they can go study at the library and then go for a nice walk in the forest and relax, breathe, and then come back to the university. But we're also green in the way that we are striving to make all of our buildings comply way more with the SDG sustainable goals. So it's a way to reflect on our surroundings. Talking about basically all of the students, we have so many nationalities, not just from Europe, but also from non-European countries. And you can really see that when you're on campus. You don't just hear Dutch and English, you hear Italian, German, Spanish. It's really a plethora of languages in the university. Even professors are from other nationalities who will be hopefully giving you lectures. And then one of the things I really like to talk about is about our motto, understanding society. So why do we have this motto and why does it matter really? It's not really just to put it out there, but really all of our programs, no matter what you're studying, it can be a master's in finance or it can be a social science, of course, but even law. But at the core of it it's fundamental is how will whatever you're studying impact society, and how has society impacted your program, really what you're studying. And you'll have these maybe philosophical questions or ethical questions about what you're studying, how has it an impact, and hopefully what you will bring to society after you graduate. So really that's the core of every program. It doesn't matter if you're studying social sciences or not. Some other things I really like to talk about Tilburg University is also our facilities. So I've already talked about basically the green campus and what we really excel in, but some facilities that are really nice to talk about is our career center, which I think is important for everyone. So not only do the career center help students in having a platform kind of like LinkedIn on our website, but also CV checks, motivation letter checks, LinkedIn checks, and there's always a workshop on orienting international students into the Dutch labor market, as well as career events that happen for every faculty throughout the year. And one of the nice things is that we do have language vouchers for students. So if you do choose to learn Dutch, you can learn Dutch. But if you don't want to, there are so many other languages available for students to learn. And you have 2 free language classes for all the students enrolled. So that's kind of one of the things that you can do besides your study. And even if you don't choose to learn a new language, there are also many extracurricular activities you can do. You can join the university council, you can join a sports team, you can join the debate team or the vegetarian team. It's really like there's so many opportunities for really creating a social group of people with the same interests that you have. There's really no limit, and even if you don't find one for you, you can always start one. And the university really helps students who want to start their own association for students interested. I went too far. So I talk a lot about the nationalities, but I really like to show this slide because it has really the nitty-gritty of all of the nationalities that you can find. I mean, it's a percentage only, and from what you see, we have so many people from Germany, of course, as our neighbors. That's what we're going to have, but really it's from everywhere, and really it's just all because of our international programs being so all in English and already been recognized internationally, that the students really come for them. But also, if you don't feel like coming to the Netherlands is already an exchange of itself, maybe you would like to know that we do have some exchange partners, both for bachelor's and master's, and these are some of our exchange partners. So depending on what you're doing, bachelor's, you can go on exchange on your 3rd year, but also for master's, you can do a double degree in any of the partner universities, and that's also a really nice thing to know if you're already thinking ahead. And the ranking, so this is always important to show. Really, it depends a lot on rankings, because a lot of them we kind of qualify depending on the research output that our professors, our researchers have done, less on the quality of our program. So it's really different, and it's really nice to know that it's important to understand what each ranking is really calculating. But these are some of our rankings. You can also find them online, and each program will tell you its ranking when you look at that program specifically on our website. So some programs, we'll start with some bachelor's programs. As I have already said, they're all basically all in English. We have a mix of lectures where you really just hear the professor, and another mix of practical classes where you are put into much smaller class sizes, and you have either the professor, a researcher assistant really talk to you and see if you have any questions, especially for group assignments and any other individual assignments that you might have. This is a list of all of our bachelors available. I'm not going to go into each one of them because we don't have the time for it. I will also not be going so deep into our masters as well, but this is just an idea of all of the variety that we have. And of course, if you have any questions towards the end or during the one-on-one sessions, we can talk more about them. And for those who want to know more about the master's program, we do have masters that are usually 1 year. However, you can extend these masters, so you can go on to extend it because you want to do a traineeship for a semester, or you want to go on a double degree. So that means you can do 2 years, 1 year in Tilburg, 1 year in our partner university for another degree, or you can even do a research master's, which are usually 2 years actually. But this is something to know for everyone after you graduate, and this is not just for masters, this is for bachelors and masters. After you graduate, you do have the opportunity to have a 1-year visa after. It's called a search year visa, and this is basically that you get to search for a job during that 1 year, and you don't have to have a different work visa. That visa will be enough. And that really helps students, because if you choose to do only a bachelor's and you want to look for a job after, it gives you that ability and opportunity. I mean, look at me, I only did my bachelor's and I was able to get a job after graduating, and it took me around, I would say, 4 months to find not even 2 months to find a job. So I think that brings a lot of hope to students. So now back to the admissions requirements. So we do accept most EU diplomas. However, we do have a whole list of all of our diplomas that we accept. And for international schools, this is kind of an idea of what we accept. If you do have a question about this, I can also help you with it. But really, submitting an application is free. So even if you're not sure and maybe you don't want to ask too many questions about it, you can just send it, and our international admissions coordinators will look at it individually. So every application is going to be assessed individually and on a case-by-case basis. So that's always something to understand, that it's really, it could be not, it's just depending on them and them looking at your entire application. So not just a diploma, but also, for example, the language proficiency. You do need to apply with an English language proficiency test. These are some of the ones that we accept, and depending on the program that you choose to go to. So for example, most of our quantitative or very quantitative focused programs are going to need a higher math requirement than the other programs. For masters, it would just be about doing a bachelor's on a related subject, and as well having your English language proficiency. Then depending on which program it is, sometimes you might need to do an additional exam, but that is also quite the same to the bachelor's admissions. I'm sure you've already heard about StudyLink from other Dutch universities. So I won't go too deep into it. So you register for the program at Tilburg University in StudyLink, it'll say, and then you will receive a email from us about finishing your application on our website called Osiris. This are also some of our deadlines. It's important to know that, for example, if you want to do a bachelor's in psychology, the deadline is much earlier than all of the other deadlines. And that is because it goes through a completely different selection procedure than the other programs, because it is only for a fixed number of students. Costs, okay. So this is an idea of how much tuition fees are depending on the year that you will choose to come to the Netherlands. It will be different, maybe just a tiny bit different, but at least for this year's entry, so if you're already deciding to come September 2023, then it's nice to know that for your first year only of bachelor's, you do get half the tuition fee than it is put here, so just so you know. But only for it's half the tuition fee for the European tuition fee. For the non-European, it is not half, it is 1,000 euros less. So I will correct myself. But then here we also have estimated cost of living. It really depends on the type of budgeting type of student you are, because there's really ways to budget and spend less than what you see here. And we also added some costs that if you needed, you would have to also take into consideration. Like if you do want to join the sports center, you do have this other cost, or if you want to buy all of the books that you will need, then you might have to think about this. But this is really about your choices, especially for books. You might not need to buy all the books, or you might buy them secondhand from other students. Food and drinks, well, that will depend on if you go to the farmers market that we have every Saturday at the center, you will find cheap food, at least groceries. So like a kilo of apples or onions for €1. That's always really nice for students to go to rather than spending it at a big supermarket. And now I think also you've heard about housing in the Netherlands. We do have a housing shortage, and the university does not offer any housing or any accommodation to students. So it's really your responsibility to find housing. We do have a system in place. So we have a partnership with an organization that owns a building in which it rents out to students, so student rooms, and we reserve with them a certain amount of rooms, and we do send emails to all of the students who have already been admitted about this opportunity. It starts in around May, where you can apply, you register beforehand, and then you basically wait until the exact dates, exact time, and it's a free-for-all, and you just try to find a room within the 20 minutes that it's available. But only around 20% of our students get to stay there. So we really, really want to make a point that students need to start looking for housing several months in advance. We do have a housing office that can help you out, make sure that you can navigate the private market, especially because of scams that can happen, but also to kind of give you an idea of what a contract means, what it is like to look for housing in the Netherlands, like understanding that maybe sometimes roommates will choose who they want to live with, or sometimes it can be the landlord. So those are all some differences in what could be from your home country. For those who might want to ask if we do have any scholarships, we only have scholarships for master's programs. So if you're thinking about it for a master's, then maybe this is something good for you to know, but just so you know, for bachelors, we do not offer any scholarships. But if you are thinking about a master's here, you can always go into our website for more information on the scholarships. And for those of you asking why I didn't talk about the master's programs, the reason is because we have over 40 programs, more than 60 programs if you count each single track of every master program, and that would not have fit into this presentation. But if you go to our website, you can find all of the 60 master's programs, all of them in English, in case you're interested. And that is all for my presentation. I think I finished with 4 minutes to spare for questions, so I would love to answer any questions you guys might have.